Well, welcome back to Cash Talks, baby, with me, your hostess, Samora Cash, here at Dude IDK Studios. Thank you for joining us for another episode today. I'm so excited to be joined by one of my most favorite Colorado Springs divas, honey. The one, the only, it's JANAE. Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm
my
so happy to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here. Made the drive up this afternoon just to come hang out with Miss Cash. I said I was serving my J-Lo mob wife fantasy today.
It's giving everything.
That's where we're at. That's where we're living today. But I am just so excited for our conversation today. You all are going to absolutely love getting to know JANAE. JANAE has one of the most beautiful voices I have ever heard in my entire life. Like, JANAE and I met in Colorado Springs quite some time ago, and I just immediately fell in love with everything that she is. So I'm so excited she's here. But I thought a fun way to start off today's podcast might be if you gave the people a little preview of that gorgeous voice of yours. So JANAE, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay. I'm like, there's so many amazing songs. What do I pick? I love to like bring it down.
Yeah.
But I'm not really feeling that right now. So I'm going to like just sing the first thing that's stuck in my head.
Yes, go for it.
It's by Superfruit. They're amazing. It's called Goodbye from Lonely. And this is how it goes.
Yes, get into it.
Work. You call me by my first name for the first time since the first time that we met. And you didn't tell me goodbye for the first time since the first night you laid in my bed. And it knocks me off my feet. I'm coming apart and I can't breathe. Oh, every part of me was tethered to what we used to be. Now, baby, am I talking too much? Am I saying enough? Did you fall out of love? I wish that you told me. What do I do? Have I run out of time? I'm one goodbye from lonely, oh baby. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear your voice, it's like I've heard it for the first time, even though I've heard it so many times. I know that if you're listening right now, you just fell in love with JANAE already. So, and with a name like that, I mean, what's not to love? Oh my gosh. But
I'm blushing.
Yes. I'm like, I could literally just sit and listen all day.
Thank
so
you.
Great. So great.
I feel that with you.
So that leads into actually a really good point. So JANAE and I met at a local bar down in Colorado Springs called Icons. Shout out to all of our Icons fam.
We love you.
We love you.
So much.
But in case you don't know Icons or haven't looked them up or kind of know the origination of all of it, they are actually a bar where all of the staff members are live singers, okay? And when I say live singing, I'm talking like vocals like JANAE and some, everyone.
Everyone is so talented.
So talented.
And such beautiful, beautiful people.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to be in a space where everybody is contributing and celebrating and just authentic.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah. And it's such a joy to be able to go into a space, especially a queer space like that, where you feel like everyone just gets to share a gift that they're so richly blessed with. And I love that so much. And it also leads me into something that I want to say about Icons as well. They actually experienced kind of a unfortunate event here a few months back, where there was a fire in the building that Icons is attached to. So they are currently raising money to try and build a new space. Because obviously we all love Icons. I've performed there countless times with my good dear sister Kylie Michaels.
Of course.
Love you, Kylie.
Honey.
And I'm just excited for whatever's to come. I know
Yes.
that Icons is such a staple in the community, especially
Absolutely.
being one of the very few queer spaces for all of us to be able to enjoy. So
Absolutely.
if you listen to this podcast and you feel it in your soul, in your heart, in your spirit to kind of donate, there is a link. I will be linking Icons Instagram to this episode as well. You can click on the link and go on to their Instagram and donate directly. So
Please.
there's a lot of work that's going to go into a new space. And if there's anything that we all know, building something from the ground up, brand new, is a very, very difficult task. But I know as a community and people around the world, we can lift our queer community up. Am I right?
Yes, and we deserve that. They deserve that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, Colorado Springs needs that home base for people to go and connect and really just like stay true to themselves and explore existence together.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, if you've ever been to Icons, if you've, you know, been a part of that space in any capacity, you also know that just feeds from the moment that you walk in. Like that energy is there. It's love, it's light, it's just opportunity for so many people, a lot of just amazing queer artists and just for a space for us to exist. And
100%.
we want to see that thrive and continue on. So
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely check out the link and show them some love if you can. We would all greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes. But I want to get into JANAE today. Hey. And I just want to kind of start off, let JANAE kind of tell you a little bit about her background, where she comes from, just her as an artist and kind of the things that's led her to the point that she's at now and kind of go from there. So go ahead and give us a little bit of information on you, JANAE.
Okay. I am from Colorado Springs. I'm a native to this beautiful state. So stunning. I came out of the womb, of course, screaming, and my dad was like, we got a singer on our hands. And little did he know that was right on the money. I was like, this is who I am. And I feel so grateful that my parents were able to meet me there and put me in a space that was the Colorado Springs Conservatory, which is truly foundational to who I am and how I've grown so far and all these beautiful, amazing people that I met. I actually met Josh Franklin, who's one of the owners of Icons, when I was 13 years old there, because he's an alumni as well. So it was just like this beautiful quilt of all these spaces that bring us all together. And then that has remained a quilt that I put on as I'm going to bed every night with gratitude, you know, just the fabrics that, this world. I'm so grateful. And so I started with doing like some musical theater space. I was definitely taking lessons and I was trained classically. As my voice has matured, she's more like, she can be mezzo soprano if I like really get up in that opera space. Gorgeous.
Yes.
But I naturally gravitate to just like soulfulness and emotive spaces and anything that you can like dance and play and get lost in like the soundscape of all of the melodies around you and the rhythms. Like I just love music and love being able to paint with my voice. Like it has been one of like the most beautiful gifts to receive and to fine tune. But I just feel so grateful to have the outlet of singing and companionship to whatever is floating around in the stars.
Absolutely.
Through that.
Yeah.
And so then I went to Denver. I went to school up in Denver for a little bit. Was going to follow the musical theater path. But then at like 4 months before my college auditions, I was like, I really do want to write my own music and want to really get to know my own voice. And so that took me on a whole different adventure. I was doing some singer-songwriting and music business, studying for about 2 years in Denver. Wasn't fully connected with the program anymore, and it just felt like it was lacking some color, and I really love color. And so I dropped out right before COVID, which was it was just aligned and necessary. And from 2020 up until this point, the last 4 years has been, I was telling you earlier, like, I feel like something shifted in the world where this portal to feeling became like totally turned up. And just like I was immersed in my own inner world for so long, and there was so much so much feeling. And I felt like a little bit kind of way over here out in the waters from like my like creative ambition of like producing products or whatever it is, like just being like, it just didn't feel like that was what I needed to be doing right then. I needed to dive into myself and get out in the sea and really explore, be a little mermaid, siren, queen.
Yes, come on, siren queen.
Come on, siren queen. Yes, very mermaid.
Very mermaid.
Very mermaid. But then that allowed me a space to, as I was feeling all these emotions, it started to, and I got to work at Icons. I started in 2020 there, and having a platform where every day at work, in my workspace, I could get up and sing my heart out. It became such a huge, like, meditative ritual for me to process what I was feeling, and a very like vulnerable space to be seen, because I was like, I'm feeling this way and I'm gonna do it right now in front of all y'all. And it may make you uncomfortable and it may bring us together, or both. Let's do it.
And we're hoping for both. That's
and
what
we
we're
are hoping for both.
Yeah.
You're right, absolutely. So then that became like this playground for me, but then that also like opened me up further into trusting myself and trusting just like my intuitive nature to creating improv melodies, or just like finding different arrangements, or just like letting myself paint without being in a box. And that really shifted my relationship with my voice and myself as an artist. And I feel like I've expanded so much as a person, and then that has shifted my vocal abilities, and that is just a gift. And I feel so honored to be able to like now feel more resourced to dive into creating more and like my craft, and really connecting with people through that. And something that I was also mentioning to you earlier, and that we all connect with, is that pain space. And when I sing, I am able to tap into my pain, and it's full of depth and rawness, but like that is what connects with people, and that connects all of us together. And I want to use that space of creating my own sounds with other people for us all to be able to dive into those waters together, and then be able to have conversations, be able to make real change in this world by coming together in our authenticity and our vulnerability and our beautiful chaos, and running with it,
Absolutely.
and shifting, being pioneers together. Through vulnerability.
Well, and I feel like a good touching point that you mentioned is, I've had this conversation with so many people at this point, and I feel like 2020 was so pivotal for so many of us. Like, it really made us, for me, and I know so many people that I've talked to, like, look at ourselves and kind of tap into different parts that we know that we haven't dealt with yet, or that we maybe weren't ready to deal with yet. And I think in going through a lot of that, like, it's been able to help us produce a brand new artistry within ourselves, you know, and that's what you and I connect so heavily on that level, is I know that JANAE and myself, like, we're able to tap into a pain that oftentimes leads and shows resilience within ourselves, you know, and we always kind of lead back to that with our art. And I know for me, like, you know, getting up on stage sometimes and doing those painful numbers, or those, you know, those ones that are really going to hit you in the soul, you know, like, that does something different for an audience or someone who's listening, and even for you as a vocal artist. Like, it's amazing to see what you can do with these vocal cords that touch people on such a level that, you know, that it's not just, hey, I'm gonna get up here with a microphone and start singing. There is depth there, and there is pain and hurt and things that have been really, you know, real to you at a certain point, for sure.
Absolutely. And then that blends into another space of euphoria by being able to sit with that pain and also be like witnessed in that, is again something that I think all of us may be looking for, is just to be witnessed in your fullness, even if it's just by yourself, like taking that time to like hold space for yourself without needing to like shift it or redirect it. Those are the same things, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that, you know, even with what you're saying too, is it always leads back to us constantly searching for who we are at our core, you know? And one thing that you mentioned is kind of being out in the sea and being out, you know, sometimes what feels like being alone, you know? And what you realize from that is being alone and being in those moments where you're, you know, completely only relying on yourself. That's really what brings your truth forward. That brings like, you know, the parts of you that maybe like you didn't know that you were ready to share, but that ultimately just kind of come out on their own, you know? And I think that there's such an important space where tapping into that, like, you know, loneliness is important. And maybe you can touch on that a little more of just kind of, you know, maybe what your lonely times are going through, hardships has kind of how that's molded or shaped you into maybe the artist that you are, or how it's helped, how it's hurt, you know, anything that kind of you might can touch on in that sense.
Absolutely. I think it was also like a sense of loneliness came from my ability to hold space for myself and to really like get to know myself and explore myself. And so it's like this longing that I had been looking for fulfillment in other people was always going to come from within me. And even though I was able to receive forms of fulfillment through my beautiful connections, the universe kept being like, well, you're going to run into this wall until again and again and again and again and again and again. And one more time. Yeah. How about 3 more?
Yeah. You want 5?
Yeah, exactly. Wait. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're not done yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You thought. Until I was able to like really see it for what it was, which was like this beautiful opportunity to dive into myself and to sit with my lonely and sit with my. And it's funny, so my ADHD is like,
same though.
She's like, there's so many thoughts that come together.
Yeah.
My loneliness was actually less lonely than I thought because I was able to be in my own companionship with myself or get back to that, you know, youthful space of when you're, I don't know, like for me, it's like being like 13, 14 in my bedroom as a teenager and being so curious about all these different spaces that I wanted to learn about or engage with or who I wanted to grow into or like what certain expressive outlets are there for me that feel really aligned. So thinking back to being that age, but with the more mature wisdom, but allowing myself to have this playfulness of, getting to know yourself, create again. So it was painful and it was really hard in different moments because with that work comes like, you know, looking at those really intense shadows or those like blockages of your own pain bodies. And that can be like rooted from way, way, way back when. And it often is like those deepest ones. And I know that those people around me that I picked up certain beliefs from had no intention of causing any harm.
Right.
And you can have an intention, and I've been this person recently in my own relationship where I'm like, I have an intention to support you, but I'm actually not. So it's just like kind of seeing that as both truths can be true at once of like harm or not, whatever. I'm getting distracted. But I also took on certain beliefs myself that I took from observing from other people about how they would approach me and then took those as my own truths. And then that was where certain blockages started to happen it was like my own mental belief system around my own self-worth that was keeping me really stagnant and keeping me in a lot of pain because I never meant to turn away from myself. And then like the forgiveness space that comes with like some inner child healing work. Thank you, Lucy, my therapist. Like,
yes, Lucy, we
come
love
on,
you.
Lucy, we love you. Has just been really, really pivotal and expansive for my person. Because I'm able to rewire neural pathways and I'm able to shift these wounds into these like medicinal spaces of reconnecting to myself. And then that opens up more doorways for my own authenticity to come through by like honoring my pain and emotions and stories, and then unlearning and pulling in these new vibrations that allow me to really feel embodied in my authenticity. And there's going to be so many more spaces where I will have to dive into my pains. Though we were saying, like, the level's only going to turn up, honey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
It's not getting easier, honey.
No. So buckle up,
Yeah.
hydrate,
Yeah.
have a tear bucket, because you need a bucket.
Gather them. Gather them. Yeah.
Shower in
and
them.
Yeah. And it's like, we've had this conversation as well, is like, we have so many people that we've either interacted with or family members, friends that have come along the way that have almost shaped us at a time or another, that it kind of took away from our self-worth and our things that we really saw for ourselves from a young age, or from a different time, a different chapter. And I know specifically for me, like, it's always been the dating people that are like, you're too much, or you're too extra, or you're too this.
Yeah.
And then you start to believe those things.
Yes.
Your brain adapts to that's what's being told to you. And you begin to kind of like, am I too much?
Yeah.
Like what is that, and you really, those beliefs become your truth, and then it's crazy how that just snowballs and gets bigger and bigger. And I think the biggest thing, and also like going on my self-discovery journey as well as you, is like you're like, no, actually I'm not too much. I'm not this thing that others have tried to make me believe that I am.
Absolutely.
I'm actually just enough the way that I am. And I think that we forget that like we are completely and utterly okay the way that we are. We forget that, we were made to be in this space, that we were made to, grow into this person that we're becoming. And we don't have to believe what others say about us, because the only thing we have to normally believe is the voice that's in our head that tells us who we are. And that's a constant battle and a constant struggle, as we know.
And something that you've shared with me too is like that space of not holding back and not apologizing for you being in your fullness is huge. And like that reminder to yourself is so important too. Just allowing yourself to continuously give yourself the permission to hold space for yourself. And it will make other people uncomfortable sometimes.
Yes, very.
And it will challenge your social circles and the places that you're putting yourself in, because if it is combative energetically, you're gonna shift. It's time for you to shift. You can stay there, but does it really feel that good?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So
and if it's not shaking up the earth underneath you a little bit, then like I don't think it's adding value to what you're doing or what you're trying to accomplish. I know for me, like, and we've chatted on this, is like the people that I surround myself with, and the friend circles and relationships, like there needs to be depth there. There needs to be vulnerability there. There needs to be a level at which you're able to open up and share things and be able to tap into that side of you. I think so many times we get like in this like restriction area of like, if I say that might ruffle feathers, but like I want to say it, but I shouldn't, we get in that combative space with ourselves of like knowing what we want to say, but too afraid to say it. And I think like it has been such a big thing in my life that 2024, I'm not playing small to make you comfortable. You know what I mean? Like that's not the space that I want to live in. That's not a comfortable space to be. And quite frankly, I feel like we all grow and learn the most in those uncomfortable spaces where we are challenging people around us.
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that is a reflection too, because I'm also challenged in that space by combating these like beliefs or needing to be perceived a certain way by certain people for certain approval, which is like, again, that's going out the door, like exited stage left. Yes. Bye, honey. So
don't trip on the way out.
So if you do, I mean, I maybe laugh. No, I'm just playing. But I think I also noticed that even when it comes to like, whether it's like I'm speaking and I'm a little lenient towards stepping back out of your comfortability, it also like, not only is it in that space sometimes, although we're breaking out of it. Come on now.
New year.
Yes.
New us.
Something shifted.
It did.
And I also turned 24 in June, and I've had this like intuitive space where it's like, I know that 24 is this portal for me into this other space.
Wait,
and
pause. That leads me to a point that just came to mind. Wait, you just turned 24?
I turned 24 in June, yeah.
Okay, but my mind just blew because it's 2024. Yes. My lucky number is 4. My birthday is 4/4. 4/4/24. There's so many 4s involved in this year. I'm like, I can't even. And I don't think I even knew that you had just turned 24. Like, that's crazy.
That's
I
wild.
got off on a tangent when you said that.
I love
because
that.
it's like I'm such a like
More synchronicities.
Yeah, I'm like
Yes.
such a numerology person, and I
Same.
never knew that I was really gonna be into numbers like that until
Same.
it just happened.
I
But,
get it.
Yeah.
Or even me, like I know that tomorrow is 2/22/24, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, let me do something with this day. Let me do something. I'm gonna change my whatever. I'm gonna
Yes.
nourish myself differently starting tomorrow.
Yes.
Just because I like the number.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
There's just something in it.
Right.
Bum, 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 bum,
Well, and there's this level at which I think, we're able to connect to certain things because of, the people that we're kind of coming into in a way.
Yes.
And that can be numbers, that can be different things. And I
Yes.
think
Colors.
the more that, colors, anything. 'Cause come on, we love colors around here. But it's that cool tapping into something that speaks to a higher level, a higher
Yes.
vibration. And
100%.
something that I think, that we've mentioned too is like, I think when you start to tap into this new level of authenticity, some people very much so like to keep you in a space that they once had you at.
Yes.
Where you may have not been the best person to them. Hello? We can admit it.
Absolutely.
They may have not been the best person to you. And it is extremely easy to hold grudges and to keep people where you met them. I mean, I have exes, I have ex-friends, I have all of these things where, like it would be very easy, and granted, some of them still are in the same place, and that is okay.
Yes.
But for those of us that have evolved and grown and given ourselves times to love ourselves deeper and to understand what's kind of made us be who we are, or honestly be versions of ourselves that we're not proud of.
Not resonant. Resonant.
I'm like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done that differently, or I don't even recognize that person anymore, But,
Absolutely.
it's easy for people to keep us in a certain space in our life because it's much harder to evolve and grow with someone as their roots and everything that they've been working on comes to fruition,
Absolutely.
And it's much harder to do that because for whatever reason, it's so much easier to be angry and to be like, no, I still want to hate you from 2010. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's crazy how that is.
Absolutely. And like the wisdom is that that's actually coming from a core wound. It's not even that it's attached to, I mean, partially, yes.
Yeah.
Attached to your experience with that person, but like you're feeling something from way behind that
Yeah.
you don't even realize.
Yeah.
And then something I was going to mention earlier is that like whether it's in that space of like holding yourself back from sharing your truth out of comfortability for other people, I also noticed that like even in my most intimate relationship with my beautiful partner, I love you so much, Ezra, my baby, that sometimes even in my safest spaces with the people that make me feel so safe, I still have to allow myself to surrender into feeling big and not keeping it small just because one person is seeing me this close and holding me this close in it. It's like, let yourself fall apart. And that's still something that like I can hold that space for myself alone. And I think like something beautiful that I'm being asked to lean further into is just like, you don't have to hold yourself back even in your most potent feelings, especially with those closest to you. And I know that that person is not going to shut me down or have anything negative to say about that. Or, it's just allowing myself to feel how much I feel, which sometimes is a little scary because it's going to fill the whole room. It's going to fill this, yeah.
You can say that again.
Yes.
And we're both heavy feelers.
Come on now.
Like
Yes.
heavy, heavy on it, as Nikki would say.
Yes.
But it's like, it's very that energy of like, you can, when you are the kind of people and spirits that we are, it's like, I have always, since I can remember, felt things so much deeper than people around me. And, and that is kind of like a catch-22 at times, because it's like you can feel, but like when you're feeling low, those feelings are way more intense because of how much you feel, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, it's in those spaces, and especially for me, I've lived alone for a long time, and it can be hard to sit with things that you're feeling. It can be hard to like just let it kind of run its course. And, you know, JANAE and I love a little Mary Jane.
Yes.
So sometimes even like taking a step back from that of any like
Absolutely.
substance that's gonna, you know, maybe alter your brain chemistry a little bit, and to be like, you know what, tonight or today or forever, how long I'm feeling this, like I'm just actually gonna sit with it, you know, and like that can be and that is hard for a lot of people.
It
and
is.
you know it's hard for a lot of people because you can see why people mask a lot of their feelings that way
Truly.
through different substances, because it is hard to sit with your feelings. It is hard to honestly sit with your truths of who you are and what comes to the surface and what bubbles up, because sitting with it means that you have to deal with it, which means that you then have to change it into something to become better, or just stay stagnant where you are at the same time.
And like, I think an additional step that helps me navigate those waters is asking myself, what do I need? What do I need? Not why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this way? What the heck? Why? What? What, baby? Because tending to the body is such an important space. And that is something that like I'm passionate and shifting further into, is just like, okay, I was over here, now we're coming back here. And because I was telling you, I was like, our body, it's holding so much right now. So many feelings are coming up. So much energy. That little, I love that. Sometimes that happens to me when I'm singing on stage, and it's non-consensual, and it just happens, and I'll be like, it's just.
But I think the best part of it was the fact that I got to watch it happen in real time. Oh my God, the gulp of the century.
Gracious. She was gracious.
Oh my God. That's why podcasts are fun, because you just never know what's going to happen. Anyways, before the gulp.
Which is awesome. Even
shout out to 7-Eleven if you would like to give us a Big Gulp sponsorship.
Oh my God,
I'm sweating. Okay,
I am
anyways.
too. What was I saying?
What was happening before the gulp? Now I forget. Anyways, I don't know. I think I've completely lost thought, and that's okay. We'll move on to a different topic because I have another one. Okay. So another thing that we've also tapped in. Oh my God, I gotta get my life together. Woo, I can't look at you. Okay. One thing that we've talked about also is you and I have tapped into something with our sexuality and sensuality. And I know for me, for a long time, I think from, you know, maybe hitting puberty and forward is like, I was always so ashamed to feel overly sexual or to feel like, you know, that was, I mean, I grew up Southern Baptist, so, you know, anything in that realm was very frowned upon, you know, but we won't get into all that yet. But it's just like, I was so ashamed and went through that like period of my life where I was like, you know what, you're not allowed to feel sensual. You're not allowed to feel overly sexual. You're not allowed to, you know, feel these feelings that you know, are within you. But the truth is you are. And like, that's something that we have shared and talked about a lot is, you know, we've let ourselves grow and evolve into that and made room for that space to change, because I know for the both of us, it definitely has. And I know you could have a lot to say on that as well.
No,
for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for sharing. And what a great topic. Oh my gosh. How liberating is it to like allow yourself to explore these juicy realms. And especially like in your own kind of sacred space where it's like, ooh, it's me in the mirror. Look at those hips. Sheesh. But mainly for me, it's just like, I have this beautiful vehicle that can move in so many awesome ways that do bring me pleasure and do ground me and do feel like erotic and just like new. And it doesn't always have to be like erotic, meaning like we're in this sexual Foley space.
Right.
Although like I think our primal energy as beings and these like animalistic spaces is that is very natural. Like one of us as mammals, our thing is to reproduce. So of course we're gonna be like thinking about all the, you know, you do your scans. Because we're all like a mate, and that's just what biology is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's not
absolutely.
run from that.
Let's not.
But also, like, that doesn't mean like I'm going to walk around and sexualize everybody or
No.
everything.
Yeah.
Although I'm, going to explore my own realms. I'm getting lost in the realms part where I'm like, wait, where are the realms?
What realms? Yeah. Yeah.
Our bodies. I think really it's just like about, because like I'm able to express myself and open up, and it's through movement, and it's through like slowing down and allowing yourself to like twist and contort and shift and flow and like be a little wild and try some new spaces. And that can be just like dancing, like, you know, but then like there's like so much, I feel like, sensuality in the natural world, like eco-sensualist. Hey. Flowers, trees. Like I just like love texture. It helps me get like more in the present moment by really grounding myself into my senses. And then having this inner world that also connects to that and can be activated further through those experiences. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, and like for me, I think going through that journey of kind of understanding my body more and going through that, like it's played into a lot of my drag career, honestly, because I finally, for the first time, allow myself to like be in this space where, you know, like being on stage, like you can deliver literally whatever you want with your body, you know? And sometimes, some nights it feels better to slow it down and give you something like more sexual or sensual. And then other times it's like, you know, you can do something else and pop off. But
and you do.
Being in that space, it's like you have complete control. And the more that you allow yourself to tap into that and feel and just kind of get to know your body and your person, like just who you are and your DNA and your makeup. Like you don't have to be ashamed of that at all.
Absolutely.
And I think so many of us kind of fall into that a lot of times. It's like, dang, I shouldn't like allow myself to think that way, or like I shouldn't allow myself to feel that way. But in reality, let yourself feel it. Let yourself think it. Like, you know, by doing that, you're not harming anyone. Like you said, you're not over sexualizing anyone. You're just kind of living in this space where, you know, our bodies have freedom to do what they want to do. And for you, I'm sure, is much different, because we all know how people lose their minds over women being sensual and sexual. I mean, it's crazy to me to see, even online, to watch how people attack women online for just like being expressive in that way. It's like,
or even just a bareback photo with a little bit of your back dimples.
Right. But a man or anyone else can go and do whatever and show their abs and show anything else, and it's fine. You know what I mean? And so for you, I'm sure that that's even something that's a little different too, as kind of being in like your body as well.
Absolutely. And also just like being able to detach from the external gaze, like let it go. Let like all these archetypes of what you should be or shouldn't be, just or use it as like, I like to use it as my motivation to explore more versions of myself, or just definitely. And I also think like my relationship with my body as a woman has definitely been complicated. And I feel like now at this point in my life, I'm resurrecting my own sovereignty in myself and feeling fully embodied as a woman and connected to my body, because I was also taking all these different belief systems about size and about boobies, your chest size, and like I have PCOS, so like I have hormone imbalances, which means I grow a little stubble here and there. And I used to hate that, because I was like, I don't want to feel masculine this way, or like all I want to do is feel feminine and soft, but like my boobs are different sizes, like everybody's. But like I'm just like, you know, I just got way too sucked into these like little pieces of my identity that were like really, really constrictive to me accepting myself and to me like really like loving myself fully. And it's like, not that it was fully pushed onto me to believe those things. I mean, by those closest to me, I suppose, you know, but it was just this deep-rooted thing where it was, again, me to myself. So it's like, also, can you check yourself and be like, is this really actually true? No. Like, I need some back.
Not the gulp came back. It's the episode of The Gulp.
Oh my God.
Featuring our special guest, The Gulp.
The Gulp, baby. I always look at it as like,
No.
she's opening her throat chakra.
Is.
There's
It
some.
is. There's a lot of things that you're needing to say that are trying to come out. That's what we're going with.
And I love laughing at myself in the best
honestly,
ways.
If you can't laugh at yourself, who could you laugh at?
And it's
honestly?
like, for me, like the gulp is my thing. Like it's like my one thing where
Yeah.
it's like, I just gulp.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
I
going to
don't
have
have
to be
control.
the hashtag of this episode, The Gulp, honestly.
I love that.
But with that being said, do you feel as if you've been able to go back and either tap in or speak to a different version of yourself to kind of come to this newer place that you're kind of entering into now? Or is that kind of something that you're constantly working on? Like, what does that space kind of look like for you now? Especially because
Absolutely.
you were talking about, looking at your body and not always feeling confident. And I guess kind of what does that journey look like for you?
Absolutely. I mean, definitely through like the first years of my adult life, it started to like really shift in the ways that I was showing up, because I was like, I need to change my physicality to be like, I feel like I can be enough and feel really truly confident in myself, which was again the disconnect. So I went through this like trial of like weight loss and being vegan, and I love plant-based, don't get me wrong, so nourishing and yummy. But yeah, it just like, I was not fully connected to, I was in my body, but I wasn't connected to my mind. Like it didn't match, it wasn't aligned. And so when I started going to therapy and like doing this like inner child healing work, like that's when the shifts were able to happen, because I was intentionally going back to certain core memories where I picked up these beliefs, and I was able to shift them literally change my neural pathways, but also like go back to that moment and introduce that young version of myself to this version of me now, and like shake her, like hold her by her shoulders and like be like, none of this is true. Like you can fully let go of this story, and I put her in her favorite dress, and I took her to a hot spring, and my little self was just a mermaid. And my therapist was like, okay, where are these pains in your body? And what does it look like? And I was like, it's in my heart and in my belly, and it looks like black electric fuzz just swirling around behind my chakra, and chakras and
Chakra. Chakra.
and I was like, I'm gonna go on a whole tangent. No. So I started just like breathing and pulling this energy out of myself. And then my therapist had me take my version of myself to a safe space that she wanted to stay in and frolic, until we meet again. And I had this like little ring on that I was like, I'm going to copy and paste, and you can have this ring too. And if like I ever feel like, oh, it's starting to inflame, I can just hold my ring and remember this new story that I've created and remember, and I'm able to shove that right out the door. Another part that has really helped has been the embodiment aspect and allowing myself to explore intimately with myself in my own space to my favorite artists or to no sound and just like, ooh, these funky creatures. The shape. Something else I really love is getting to remove the face. And by that, I mean, like literally, I have this awesome backyard where there's a shed, and the next door neighbor's lantern lights it up, and it's just my shadow. So the silhouette. And then that's a really beautiful place to watch my soul express deep pains, deep joys, deep effervescence of whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And that it's nice to take away the ego and just like let the soul sing. And then just it's just like a practice space. It's like you're tuning and growing a muscle within yourself and in your awareness. And that just takes consistency. And it's also like a gift. So it's not like a chore, it's a gift to give yourself that space and that permission to explore and take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
Yeah. I love that. And it's like the willingness also to be able to go into that space and be able to have a want and a desire to kind of go back to your younger self. And I think that's a lot of the work that I'm currently doing. I mean, it's insane to me, growing up in such a religious background, and to really like how much that affects you and how much work you have to do to really search and find yourself and go back to that younger version and be like, you're okay, like it's for so long, especially also like being gay and realizing you're different and all of these other things. It's like, how do you go back and just nurture that younger version of you to say like, you're fine, like you're safe. And I deal with that a lot now in my adult life, being almost 31 now, is like I feel like I have to constantly, whether I'm having a good emotion, a mid emotion, or high emotion, I have to constantly remind myself you're okay, you know, and
you're
like
safe.
you're safe, like everything's fine, like because any level of like heightened emotions sometimes just can, I don't know, because there's still that version of you that still kind of like has those self-doubts or those thoughts that like flare up or come up, and you know, you have to be able just to go back and just say you're fine, like everything's okay.
Absolutely. And for me to get to that space, I have to remember to breathe.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get so stuck in my like, whoa, very adrenaline emotions, lots are happening, a lot
is happening. Realistically, yes. Shout out to the Gulp.
Yes. You can just change my name in your phone. Honestly, at this
Officially
point.
the Gulp.
It's the for me.
It's the Megan with 2 E's. Okay.
Word.
The Gulp.
The Gulp.
Anyways. Version of yourself younger. Yes. We're getting sidetracked.
What else? What was there right before that? This is a key moment of my
but it's just being able to go back and nurture that younger version is kind of like what 100%. We were getting at, and like being breathing.
100% breathing. And then also like that. No, because I don't want to be in a reactionary space. I want to be in a responsive space, because I am causing harm if I'm in a reactionary space.
Amen.
And that's just what it is, to myself and to others and to the people I love, which is not what we want to do. You got to take accountability though, and take action to shift. And some wounds are deep. You have to work harder on them, and we won't get it the first few times, and that's okay. But any sort of turbulence or turmoil that you experience in your life, if you just remember that, if you just breathe, like you can get through it. Like that's like one of the biggest tools, is like that the resources are actually within you. And so it's just about slowing yourself down. And then the consistency to showing up in those spaces of evolution, of new exploration of the self. The devotion came from the lack of support. Like it came from me being like, oh, this is what I've been missing from myself. So now that I'm getting this amazing nourishment, I don't want to turn away from that right now when, it's serving its purpose and it's transforming me inside out. And I'll keep going through different stages of that throughout my whole life. And that is an honor. And I feel grateful to be able to participate.
Yeah. And is there like, do you feel like there's like a specific, you know, hardship that stands out to you, or anything specific or unique to you that has been either pivotal or a defining moment that really kind of made you tap into just kind of even more of a self-discovery in a way of like, and it doesn't have to be like specific, but even as broad as, you know, maybe what those hardships have made you realize along the way too. Like, do you feel as if, you know, you've had that kind of moment or aha moment of like, wow, that's why I had to go through that, or that's why that happened, you know?
Definitely. And I think that those reflections for me are like character development. And then because the ways that my person has grown has shifted in my craft, like my sound has changed. So that I'm like, okay, if I do this, then I'm going to get different results in my craft, which feel more authentic and feel like it sounds rich. It sounds like me instead of this like a frog. Not that I was ever a frog. I just mean like it felt like part of my voice there was a little bit of a block. So to hear more of it come undone and more freedom has been such a gift. I think the hardship space has been plentiful. I think, and also just the right amount. Like, and I know there will be more, and I'm grateful.
Right. For the future ones
yes,
as well.
Thank you.
We see you.
Yes. Was I think just honoring the pain, honoring this, like just taking, like actually holding space to feel as fully as we do has been like my huge breakthrough space, was allowing myself to like get really, really real about how I was feeling and what caused that, who caused that, me included. And having like the compassion still be there. But the aha place kind of recently hit again, where I was like, I noticed myself running into all these walls in my relationships or connections where it felt like certain experiences had a blockage in front of them, even though I had received some of it before in certain ways. Those were able to be cleared out by noticing again that I have to run into myself. It's like even in my beautiful relationship, the universe is both providing a place for us right now to be together, but to be individual people who are growing into themselves further, which to me feels like one of the most beautiful, expansive types of connections where you can shift and change in front of one another and evolve and, you know, get to know new versions of one another. I think.
And how cool that like we spend our whole lives running, right? Like running from things that harm us, running from things that we've experienced, running, you know, from this relationship to that relationship or this friendship to that friendship. And we run and we run when all we really needed to do was run into ourselves, like you said. And that's
truly
such a crazy full circle moment that I might have just had on this couch
Yes,
after hearing you say
baby.
that. But it's like, it's crazy that really the only person that you need to be running to is you.
Yes.
Like, that's the only person that can get you to anywhere that you want to be, that can really heal the spaces that you want to heal,
Yes.
that can. And we know healing is not an overnight journey. Holy hell.
And it's not linear.
And it's not. And it has its great days, its wonderful days, its horrible days, and everything in between that. But it ultimately always comes back to self, 100%.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I think another point that you had touched on is, you know, seeing a change in your artistry, in your voice, in the blockages and the things that you were saying. Like, I think I've noticed that in my drag career of like kind of looking back at the person I was and how I used to perform. And I was so timid and afraid to let go and just let myself be as a performer. And some shift happens. I don't know when, I don't know where, it just happens.
Yeah.
And then you start to see it unfold and you're like, that person has either been through a lot of shit and dealt with it, or they're still currently going through a lot of shit and dealing with it.
Absolutely.
But it's a breaking free of a lot of things. And, you know, even last night I did a performance where I completely got out of drag.
Yes.
So I literally just started as me, as Samora, and then, you know, got out of drag. And the walls that breaks down with an audience, because we oftentimes forget, you know, anyone, you know, that there is always a face, a person behind any mask, makeup, anything at all. There's a person behind all of that.
Absolutely.
And you have to be able to, you know, lean into that person, because, you know, you can't put a filter on life. Okay.
No.
You can put a filter on a lot of things, but you can't put it on you or life. And you have to be able to kind of tap into that and let that be free. And, and break down the walls that are so strongly in front of you sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Snaps.
Yeah. All the way around.
Echo.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I feel like you and I have been on the same wavelength and brain waves for a minute now.
Yes.
And it feels so rich and amazing to hold space with you, not just on this couch, but in the spaces that we've shared together along the ways. And mind you, like, we hadn't really connected in a minute.
Yeah.
And, you know, you reached out, and it's almost like, you know, those real connections when you can just hop right back in.
Yes.
And
Ooh.
that's something that has always spoken true to you and I. And I think that, you know, as you are vibrating at a higher frequency and at a higher level and changing a lot of your inner dialogue with yourself, like, it brings those people towards you.
Yes.
It opens a door to say, like, I'm going to let go of what's not meant for me and make room for everything that is.
Yes.
And it's just been such a beautiful journey to kind of continue to see you evolve and see your artistry evolve. And
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And just in kind of wrapping this up a little bit, but what kind of special plans or ideas or goals or dreams do you have for JANAE with your vocal artistry and that? What does that kind of space look like for you?
I think that space, first of all, thank you for that question.
Yes.
And being curious.
Ew.
Come on now. I definitely think I'm still in the space of like allowing myself to dream even bigger than I have ever dreamed. And I've been a big dreamer. So I think I'm still like kind of
We're
in
both
this.
dreamers.
We're dreamers, babe. In this space of just like the limit does not exist.
Yeah.
And just like allowing, I don't know, to break down those walls of like keeping yourself small. I would love to be able to like have my own albums, shows, go on tour, you know the thing that artists do. But for real, it's not, it doesn't feed like my ego in that way of like, oh yeah, I'm a superstar. It's about connecting with people. It's about being authentic with people. It's about reminding people of who they are as well. And then getting to know that person. Don't just remind them, sit and witness. Like, and we're
you
all in
can't
this
fake
together.
authenticity, by the way.
Truly.
Yeah.
It's my past self.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Love you.
It'll catch you.
Yes. I think like for me, my biggest focus right now is just to continue that dive inward, but sharing that journey with people through creating more little pieces of content, but also like it's not just music that I'm inspired by. Like I love like videography and just like being able to paint with shapes and colors and lighting and just like cutting anything that makes you emote or like taps into that space of like, wow, that made me feel something, or dream a little bit. Is something that I want to explore. So I'm just kind of in the space of expanding my craft by practicing new instruments and really getting grounded in creating space. So we're all about to see what I'm about to do, because I don't fully know yet, but I know it's in.
But it's gonna be big.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be fuchsia and magenta and probably orange and greens and all the above.
All the colors.
Roy G.
All the
Biv.
colors. No.
Yeah.
I love that, and I feel like, you know, you've been on this path of figuring that out, of self-discovery, of realizing and looking into, you know, what your artistry looks like, walking away from spaces that, you know, may not be what you need right now.
Yes.
And I think all of that is in preparation for where you're going to go and where you're headed. And I know for me, I know this voice is going to do big old things. She's going to be headlining her own show one day. I can totally see it all. And I think sometimes it starts with an idea and it just bubbles up from there, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And I'm so grateful for your time and your space and
Me
your
too.
energy and
Thank you.
you being able to share. And I think one of my biggest goals from having this podcast and to be able to share was I want other people to also be able to walk in their own authenticity, but to be able to share it with other people and to know that it does exist for others.
Yes.
Like, we're not just up here, you know, blowing smoke up people's asses because we just want to do that.
Yeah.
We've actually walked through a lot of hardships to be at the place that we're at. And we are by no means in the area we are ready to be fully.
Absolutely.
But it's walking in that daily and giving that to the world. And I always say, you know, it's giving out your energy and being able for like anyone to feed off of that. And if they give you their energy back, then it's this constant, you know, recycling of energy that like really never ends.
Yeah.
But it starts from within.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then also like the ethereal expansion that is like, we're this tiny little rock floating in this huge giant thing, and we're focusing on so many crazy things, and we feel so disconnected in so many ways, and that's just not necessary.
Yeah.
I don't think. No. But again, the recycled energy, like literally me moving my hands like this is coming from like years and years, thousands of years in space that has been recycled and gotten all the way back down to us. So we really are interconnected to this huge universe.
Absolutely.
That is so much bigger than we can ever comprehend.
Yeah.
But anytime you're inspired by that, that is a reflection of your inner universe. So there's so much to get curious about. There's so much to explore.
Yeah.
And there's so much to love.
Yeah. So be love, spread love, and stay curious. That is the point and topics
Curiosity.
of today. Curiosity, always.
And the gulp.
But there is one final question that I like to ask all of my guests, and it relates to our podcast here. But, you know, cash is something, money is something that we all deal with, and it makes this world go round in a very destructive way sometimes. But for you, in like the way that, you know, money, cash, anything for you, like anything bigger than maybe yourself, like how would it speak in your life? Like how would, you know, if you had the means to do anything, like how would that reflect in your life? Like what would you run with? What would you do? How would you, what change would you make? Kind of thing.
Wow. I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big ending question.
Yes. the fireworks.
Yes. Bing, bing, bing.
I mean, I definitely care about giving back. I definitely care about people. I definitely care about reaching and connecting with people. This is a motif throughout this, is just like that vulnerability, seeing you in your authenticity and exploring that together. I'd love to use that platform to give back. I'd also love, and to like advocate and educate more about different groups that need support across the world.
Yeah.
And also like this beautiful, creative, connective space. Like I'd love to hold some retreats in the future. I'd love to, and really intentional spaces where we're connecting with the earth, we're connecting with each other, and we can cry together. We can, I mean, I know I'm not the only one doing this, which is awesome, but I definitely want to do it. And I also just like, I just see these colors, these fuchsia magenta colors in like my field and aura of just like something that I've been really naturally feeling forever is like that color. So like, I can just like see this like kind of like runway stage space where it's just like, we're in it together and it's like a total vibe, but like I would use it to invest into like my sound and really allow myself to get my band and really like create and I would love to like have my own record label and help other people and have my own rights, have my own music. And nobody else can have that.
It'll be yours.
Yeah, 100%. And then I'd also love to use my platform not to just talk about music or connecting with those spaces, but to circle it back is just, again, how can we give back? How can we show up and support people? Because I mean, that's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
And also, how can we support this planet and these creatures that give us that life energy? Yeah. So
everything is energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
love that though.
I don't know. Something really colorful, reaches a lot of people, is not too much.
Yeah. But we're never too much. We're just enough.
I just mean like, I don't feel like I need this huge ensemble to feel like I can still reach people, but to allow it's allowing myself to dream big.
Absolutely.
I think I'm still like, I know it's around this, but what is it going to be? And I think also like surrendering and being like, that's better than you could have ever imagined. Just match intention with action, and it'll fall into place.
Yeah, and let it be. Like let it exist and let it flow.
Oh, the biggest lesson, the biggest thing.
Let it be.
That has been a mantra for me this week.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to like, well,
Control
I need this, I want.
Yeah, let it be.
You're showing me, heard.
Right.
Done.
We see you.
You gotcha.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us all the way from Colorado Springs and making your way up here to join me today. I seriously mean it when I say, like, your energy, your love, your light, it means so, so much to me. And the fact that you are just willing to go that extra step to share your story and share your truth really means a lot. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
And also, like, let the people know, where can they find you on social media, on all the things. Like, go ahead, plug yourself. Plug yourself.
My handle is JANAE Creates, and it's JANAE CRE, the number 8 ES. JANAE Creates. Yes,
and I will also link it to this episode as well.
Absolutely.
JANAE Creates.
Yeah, and she's about to be creating.
Yeah.
She's getting it. Yeah. She's getting it together.
Well, I cannot wait to see what JANAE creates next. And it's going to be great no matter what it is.
Thank you.
But I would just want to say thank you for being here and being vulnerable. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Thank you. And thank you for setting out with your intentions to create this space for people to do that. That's a gift. And like you showing up for other people, dreamy. And thank you. I'm happy to be here with you, and I receive your energy too. And just like I've loved you. We fell in love when we met. It was like, okay, something's here. Yeah. So just thank you for inspiring me and being somebody that, just like is a reminder of bringing me back home too. Is just like that authenticity reflection is like, bam. So thanks for being bold and sharing your story too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you to Dude IDK Studios for having us.
Absolutely.
So grateful.
Yeah. And this is what I want this to continue on. And it is such a pleasure, as always, to share other people's stories and, bring your light forward, because it needs to be seen. So,
absolutely.
But thank you all so very much for joining us for another episode of Cash Talks with me, Samora Cash, and of course, my special guest today, JANAE. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dude IDK Studios, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.